Imagine this. You're editing a complex multi-tab form in a web app. Maybe it's a project configuration wizard, a collaborative document editor, or a data modeling tool. You make a mistake or just want to experiment, but there's no easy way to undo or redo your changes. Frustrating, right? This is a common pain point in modern web applications, and it's one that users notice immediately. Today, you'll discover exactly how to build a robust, real-time undo and redo stack for even the most complex React forms, without relying on any third-party libraries. You'll learn how to empower your users to revert or reapply any change, no matter how intricate the form or how many fields are involved. By the end of this tutorial, you'll gain a clear understanding of the architectural principles behind undo and redo functionality. You'll see step-by-step how to implement a fully functional undo-redo stack using only React 19's built-in features, unlocking efficient, maintainable, and high-performance solutions for your own projects. We'll demystify the core concepts: how to capture form state snapshots, manage user actions, debounce updates for performance, and ensure your stack never grows out of control. You'll also pick up best practices for handling nested fields, dynamic arrays, and multi-step forms, scenarios that challenge even experienced React developers. Why does this matter? In today's user-centric world, the ability to undo and redo changes is not just a nice-to-have. It's a critical feature that sets professional applications apart. Whether you're building onboarding flows, collaborative editors, or admin dashboards, this capability dramatically improves user trust, productivity, and satisfaction. Mastering this technique will let you deliver a seamless editing experience that users expect, without bloating your bundle size or introducing unnecessary dependencies. If you're serious about building polished, enterprise-grade React apps and want to stay ahead with the latest React 19 advances, make sure to subscribe. This channel is dedicated to delivering in-depth, practical tutorials that keep you at the forefront of modern web development. Stay tuned and level up your skills with every episode. Imagine editing a document in a powerful word processor. Each time you type, delete, or format, the program remembers your steps, letting you travel backward and forward through your changes. This seamless ability to undo and redo is not just a convenience. It's essential for confidence and experimentation. Under the hood, this feature is powered by a structure known as the undo-redo stack. At its core, the undo-redo stack works like a pair of bookshelves. Every time you change something, you place a snapshot of your work onto the undo shelf. If you decide to undo, you take the latest snapshot off the undo shelf, moving it to the redo shelf, and step back to the previous state. If you redo, you grab the latest from the redo shelf and move it back to the undo shelf, stepping forward again. In the context of complex web forms, such as a multi-section project configuration form or a rich editor, the data is often deeply nested with arrays, objects, and dynamic fields. Managing the history of these intricate structures is more challenging than handling a simple text string. The undo-redo stack in this scenario must capture either full snapshots of the form's state or, for efficiency, just the difference, diff, between changes. When a user edits a nested field, say updating a team member's role, the stack should record the entire state in a way that can be precisely restored without losing the integrity of other fields. Imagine the form as a living document. Each change is a page in its story. The undo-redo stack is the timeline, letting you revisit any chapter. For users, this means absolute freedom. Mistakes are never permanent, and exploring different configurations becomes safe and reversible. Building such a system from scratch in React means thinking carefully about when and how to record changes. Too many snapshots, say one per keystroke, can bloat memory and frustrate users by making undo granular to the point of annoyance. Too few and important steps might be skipped. The key is balancing granularity and performance, ensuring that undo and redo always feel natural, predictable, and instantaneous. Consider a painter working on a massive, detailed mural. Each brushstroke changes the artwork, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically. The painter wants the ability to step backward through their strokes, or even redo them, without disturbing the rest of the mural. In software, especially modern React applications, this analogy plays out in how we manage and track complex, evolving state. React 19 introduces advanced hooks and a compiler that optimize component rendering and state tracking. This means we can architect our undo-redo stack using only React's built-in primitives, bypassing the need for external state management libraries. By leveraging hooks such as useState, useReducer, and custom hooks, we gain fine-grained control over how and when state changes are recorded and restored. Imagine the undo-redo logic as a time machine within your component. Each time the user makes a meaningful change, adding a team member, modifying an address, you use a custom hook to record the new state. This hook maintains two stacks in memory, one for undo, one for redo. Storing these stacks in useref allows mutations without triggering extra renders, ensuring performance remains smooth even as the history grows. To prevent overwhelming the system with too many entries, debouncing is employed. For instance, when typing rapidly, changes are grouped and only pushed to the stack after a short pause. This way, typing a full word or sentence becomes a single undoable action, mirroring user expectations from desktop applications. When the user hits undo, the hook pops the latest state from the undo stack, pushes the current state onto the redo stack, and updates the form. If they hit redo, the process reverses. All of this happens in real time, with no delay or reloads, thanks to React's efficient update model. The elegance of this approach lies in its adaptability. Whether the form is simple or deeply nested, with objects, arrays, and dynamic fields, the undo or redo stack operates with the same core logic. React's immutability principles ensure that each state is a true, isolated snapshot, preventing accidental mutations that could corrupt history. In summary, React 19's modern hooks and compiler empower developers to implement robust, real-time undo-redo functionality for even the most complex forms, all without reaching for third-party tools. The result is a codebase that's lean, maintainable, and entirely under your control, much like a painter mastering their own canvas and brushes. Let's start with the main application entry point, which initializes and renders our undo-redo-enabled complex form. This file orchestrates the UI, connecting the custom undo-redo logic to the form and rendering all interactive elements. The following is the main application component. The next essential file is the core custom hook that powers the undo-redo stack. This hook manages the undo and redo stacks, debouncing, and exposes a clear API to any component managing complex state. This file contains the full undo-redo stack implementation logic. Here is the main form component that utilizes the undo-redo hook and manages all form logic, including nested updates and the UI for undo-redo controls. This file demonstrates how to wire up the stack logic to a real-world complex form. The file implements the orchestrator for the undo-redo form. The following file is the schema for the form's initial state. It sets up the nested structure used throughout the form and the undo-redo stack. This file defines the initial form state. This file contains the reusable field component for rendering individual form inputs. It accepts value, label, and onChange props, and is used for all fields within the form. Here is the field component implementation, the main entry point for the React application. This file is responsible for mounting the root component onto the DOM. The following is the main client entry point. This file provides basic CSS styles for the form, buttons, and layout, ensuring a clean and user-friendly appearance for the undo-redo form UI. Here are the most relevant styling rules. Here is the configuration file specifying the React version, scripts, and testing dependencies. This ensures the project is set up with React 19 and the required tools for building and testing the undo, redo enabled form. The package.json configuration. The application loads, displaying the main header and the complex multi-tab form interface. The form is organized into logical sections: project details, owner info, avatar upload, office address, team members, permissions, an undo, redo timeline, and a collapsible JSON view of the current form state. Focusing first on the project details section, the project name field is filled with Orbit Platform. After a short pause, the description field is updated to a multi-tenant SaaS for Teams. The project type is selected as API, and the status is set to active, with each field change separated by a brief moment to observe the update. Next, attention moves to the owner info section. The full name field is filled with Jamie Sun, followed by entering jamieorbit.com into the email field. Each input is given a moment to settle, demonstrating the form's responsiveness. The focus shifts to the avatar upload area. The avatar input is highlighted to indicate where a user would upload a file, visually showing the interface's readiness for this step. Moving on to office address, street is filled with 100 main SD, city with metropolis, and zip with 90210. The country dropdown is set to Germany. Each field is updated distinctly, showing how nested and diverse input types are handled seamlessly. In the team members section, the view is scrolled to the area, and the Add Team Member button is clicked. This adds a second team member row to the form. The first team member's name is entered as Alice, and the second as Bob, with each input separated by a short pause. Then, the roles are assigned: developer for Alice and designer for Bob via drop-down selectors. To demonstrate undo and redo capabilities, the Remove button beside the second team member, Bob, is clicked, removing him from the list. After a noticeable pause, the Undo button is pressed, and Bob instantly reappears, illustrating the restoration of complex nested data with a single action. Attention turns to the Permissions section. The permissions list is brought into view. The Delete Project and Invite Members permissions are toggled on by checking their respective boxes. After each permission change, a pause allows the user to see the immediate effect. The Undo button is clicked twice in succession, first undoing the Invite Members permission, then the Delete Project permission. Each undo visually reverts the corresponding checkbox, confirming the reversal of actions. The Redo button is then clicked twice, reapplying both permissions. The checkboxes return to their checked state, showing the redo stack in action. Next, the Undo-Redo timeline is scrolled into view. The timeline displays a sequence of dots or markers, each representing a state in the form's history. The third timeline dot is clicked, causing the form to instantly revert to the state it was in at that point in history. A few seconds later, the last timeline dot, representing the current state, is clicked, and the form jumps back to the present, reflecting all the latest edits. Scrolling further, the current form state is shown as a collapsible JSON summary. The Show Current State JSON label is clicked, expanding the section and revealing the complete JSON representation of the form's data, including all nested fields and current values. This demonstrates the transparency and traceability of the form's state at any moment in the edit history. Finally, the Submit button is pressed. The form processes the submission, confirming that all the entered data, including complex nested structures and undo-redo modifications, can be successfully submitted. The demonstration concludes with a brief pause, allowing a final review of the form's state and the undo-redo workflow in action. Now you've seen exactly how to build a real-time undo and redo stack for complex React 19 forms, without relying on any third-party libraries. You're not just streamlining user experience, you're unlocking the ability to experiment, iterate, and recover from mistakes instantly, exactly what users expect from high-quality, professional apps. With these patterns, you can confidently handle nested data, dynamic arrays, and deep forms, all while keeping your codebase lean and maintainable. Imagine the confidence and flexibility you'll bring to your projects, whether you're building onboarding flows, collaborative editors, or intricate multi-step wizards. Want to keep leveling up with hands-on, actionable React 19 tutorials that translate directly to your daily workflow? Subscribe now, because the fastest way to master React is with real-world examples designed to supercharge your learning and your apps.